Hello everyone, welcome to our 14th episode of Z.I.P Talks. Today we are with team Devolotics from Canada, and today we'll be talking about the types of social, or the ways that they use social media. My name is Mohil, and I'm part of the outreach team on Team Zip Ties.
My name is Rishabh, and I'm also a part of the outreach team on Team Zip Ties.
Alright, my name is Ninja, and I'm one of the members on Team Devolotics, so yeah.
My name is Evan, I'm also on Devolotics.
Alrighty, so before we start off, why don't you tell us about your journey this season?
That's all you.
Alright, I guess I'll start. So we're actually a second year team from a public school. Last year was our first season. A lot of it was virtual because we're still kind of in the middle of COVID, so we didn't actually do that much. We kind of just got by with a Tetris push bot, literally. So this year, the second year, events are back in person. We decided to just go all out, see how much we could do. So we tried to learn as much as we could that was technical, programming, building, etc. And we also tried to go absolutely crazy with our outreach and as well. This got us pretty far. We won the Inspire Award in our Ontario Provincial Championships, and we're so excited to see what Worlds is like for the first time.
Yeah. That's actually really unique how you guys just went from, as you said, your own words, you went from a push button, and now you're all the way at Worlds. So, at least many teams, it takes a while to build that up and build that team. So, what amongst you guys do you think was that immediate spark where it was you guys went from 0 to hero and qualified for the world competition?
Oh, well, once again, this is our second year team, and a lot of our members from last year actually transferred onto this year, and obviously we already have this foundation that was built in our first year, and we really just built off of that, and we got of course a few new members that were able to also learn a bunch and go through everything that we needed to do to get to Worlds, obviously. But it's just been so much work put in with everyone on our team, going and again being able to win the Inspire Award, putting all the effort into outreach. And I'll get into this on pretty early on, but we created this thing called the Scarborough STEM Alliance, which is a huge effort put in with 4 teams at our public school, actually, where we did a bunch of outreach efforts, teaching people how to code, teaching how to build, teaching people how to do a bunch of stuff within robotics, and just spreading our love for STEM all over Toronto. And then partnering with a bunch of different schools and also our local libraries, doing a bunch of these events in our areas. Yeah.
Just to quickly add on some of the things he said, one of the biggest factors that contributed to our Inspire Award win was this aforementioned nonprofit organization. It was mainly targeted at middle school kids. It really started out as just us going back to our previous middle schools that we went to before and mentoring their first LEGO League teams. And that's actually how the idea came to mind. And we eventually turned it into a larger network of more schools, more teachers, and we even partnered with the library, I think he did mention. And back to the question you're asking, one more thing that I think contributed a lot to our success is that we try to make sure that we're still friends outside of school. And outside of the team. We go biking outside sometimes. We go to sushi restaurants together, and we really maintain a close relationship. We make sure that everyone's always happy when they're part of the team.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's exactly the same thing with us. So the majority of our team actually goes to the same public high school, Seminole High School, here in Florida, and we see each other every day. So I see at least our build lead or coding lead, Ari and Sana, every single day. I think I have 4 classes with them. So it's maybe I see them too much. I don't know. But it's I think that definitely contributes into a team success. It's just having that connection between you guys.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Being able to just talk to everyone and have a nice environment to be able to do everything, especially since how time consuming robotics is. I'm sure you guys know
Oh my god.
the amount of time that goes into planning and actually being able to build a robot, and after building the robot you have to code it, and then also doing all the outreach. It's the amount of time that you have to spend to just compete as a FTC team. The amount of time you spend together, you must make sure that it's a nice time, otherwise it's not going to be enjoyable, and obviously if it's not enjoyable, then what you produce isn't going to be as good.
Yeah, I know, definitely. Like, you know, just everyone is working on something. Like as you get closer to the competition, so you know that you just have that bond. Since you have that bond on your team, you know, you feel like you guys are working as like one big machine, and you know are able to reach something bigger. Like you guys, obviously, you guys were able to work together with one another and achieve the Inspire Award in at Ontario, which is very notable. So you know, sort of talking about time. How does your team try and manage, you know, the time in other aspects as well?
All right, I guess that's good. One of the hardest parts about all this is that we have 12 members in our team, and this probably isn't really good for team longevity or anything, but 10 of them happen to be in grade 12. So on top of needing to do all the first tech challenge stuff, we also have to stay on top of our schoolwork. We've over the 2 years, we've developed a really nice way of separating tasks. So all of us are very familiar of what the other team members are capable of. We make sure not to push them if they're if they have something else going on. Usually when you're having fun, stuff gets done a lot faster than you think. So we kind of tapped into that positive energy to make sure that all of us are on top of our tasks all the time.
I think, yeah, definitely. I think that just because you guys are so close, I think that sense of accountability between you guys, it's like, so if someone's slacking off, I feel like, at least on our team, it's like everybody just gets something like, hey, you've been doing, and like it just builds up like that. So it's like everybody's working, everybody's looking out for each other. I think that's definitely like an important factor.
Yeah, definitely. Even like at this point, most of our members are able to like look at a task, and we're able to take initiative and just do it without having everybody just pounding on them to get a task done. Just being able to take initiative and being able to do stuff, it's definitely very important, especially with the time crunch and everything. It's definitely amazing.
Yeah, like I'd say especially getting closer to competitions or just overall, you know, like I would say a really big thing when it comes to that time part is with your rookie members, you know, when they start out, or what I could say with some of our rookies is, you know, they are at the beginning of the season, you know, they were developing their skills and the notebook, you know, building and programming. But now as we're getting closer to the World Championship, they've been on top of things, just getting everything done that needs to be done. And, you know, our leads like Sanath, Ari, and Rishabh have been able to like check their work and have been able to, you know, build this bigger bond with them and, you know, just develop it over the season. So like next year, because I don't know if Rishabh mentioned this, but he's actually he's a senior this year. So, you know, as someone steps into his role, you know, one of those rookie members, it's just going to be like Rishabh never left, you know. So.
Yeah. A lot of our members, like we mentioned before, are going to be graduating next year, but we've made sure to like inject all of our knowledge into Ninja and the other younger members so that they can take our spots as well.
Have you guys started recruiting? Because you guys said that you have 10 members, so have you guys have people ready to join next year?
We have a few people that are in line, and we've done a few training, a little bit of training in terms of like being able to do outreach and that stuff, as we've already involved them in doing our workshops outside of school. However, when it comes down to the technical bits of the first tech challenge, it's looking a little slow. It's gonna be recruiting after the World Championship, but
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Usually for recruiting, we recruit the year before, so we don't need to cut into time after kickoff to get members organized and ready to go. there is actually a benefit, I guess, to being an official school team, because we can use the school PA and we can use their channels of communication to recruit as well. But that also gives us a limited pool of people. So it's kind of a balance of being easy and hard to recruit. But I don't think we'll have that much trouble, because we do have about 2 months after Worlds until the summer break that we can gauge interest in robotics within our school.
Yeah, like, so has your team ever thought, or has your team ever had interest from someone outside of your school, or like, have you guys ever thought of ways you can incorporate those that aren't part of your school into your team?
As for students that are outside of our school, I'm not actually sure we're allowed to do that. Because, yeah, our school board is really strict on these things. I'm not sure if we're allowed to do that. As for our friends, since like robotics takes up so much of our time, they also know and they're interested and they ask questions about this kind of stuff. So I think overall, pretty much everybody in the school has heard of us at some point. So I think recruiting, it won't be that difficult, because we already have many interested people that are willing to put their time in.
Yeah, like I'd say for our team at least this year, after the Florida State Championship and going to Worlds, so many people have heard of us. You know that for the next season we have a lot. We have a lot of middle schoolers and younger members who are interested in joining our team. So it's really important for us to be able to continue this team. You know, not just until next year, but hopefully for the next 4 to 5 years. So, like I would say, how with your younger members, how do you guys train them so that next year when when your 10 senior members leave your team, you know, how is your team gonna just function as well?
I guess Ninja, as the non-senior here, can answer that.
So, well, this for me, as like I've dedicated so much time into being able to learn like everything that goes into like coding. It's been a huge hassle to wrap my brain around these complex
Are you guys
tasks.
both seniors?
I'm grade 10.
Oh, so
Yeah.
everything's on your back next year.
Yeah. So our team consists of 12 people. 10 of them are seniors, and then 2 of them are grade 10.
Oh,
So that's me and another one of our members, which sadly isn't here today. But next year, we've definitely put a lot of time into. We actually created something called an FTC dictionary, and it's essentially this spreadsheet that is filled with everything that we've learned throughout the year, going from parts to programming concepts to like literally like companies of certain things that we want to use, certain things that we've tested that don't work, and certain things that we know that works, and literally a dictionary of terms that you would need to know in order to be successful. And well, it's actually me and Evan that spent a lot of time creating this, and we're definitely going to implement it into training the great amount of rookies that we're going to have next year. So it's definitely going to be a large effort to be able to get our team back to a position where we can perform very well. But hopefully we'll have a few returning mentors that will help us reach a good destination.
Yeah, you guys should definitely find a lot of people, especially because you guys are a public school, and everybody should know about you guys. I mean, tying it back into social media, you guys have like, at least our team, we like post every accomplishment, every outreach that we do. So it's like slowly and surely, like people find out about our team and they reach out to us. Is it similar for you guys?
Not really through social media, or I shouldn't say that, because I don't pay too much attention to the social media. It's the outreach team doing all that. Thank you to the outreach team. But there have been a lot of people asking about it in person as well. Because it's a school, like everyone's in the same building. Usually, it's a lot easier for them to just talk to us in person. It has happened a couple of times, asking about how can we join the club, how can we help out, how can we participate, and yeah.
so like you guys rely more on your physical contacts between, you know, students at your school more than the social media.
Yeah. Like we said earlier, As we are part of a public school and our team is revolved around our school, we can pretty much only recruit people from our school. And we obviously have put a bunch of time into our social media, our Instagram and our YouTube, being able to spread it throughout our school, which actually has happened a few times where people have just walked by and just complimented one of our videos or something like that. So social media has definitely played a part in that, but we mostly recruit through in-person like contact with other people, as that's just much easier within the environment that we are in.
I guess the main thing to note is that our outreach efforts are mainly directed outside of the school and into the community. So we don't have that much social media presence, I guess, within our school because we have other channels to do that through. So we have kind of our in-person and school-wide outreach done through the school, and then we have our social media directed on our community, our city, and everywhere else.
Yeah, definitely. Most of our outreach efforts have been dedicated to teaching, inspiring like the youth within our area. So like younger generations that are eventually going to grow up into one of the teams. Hopefully, one of the teams, Devolotics, in the future. But definitely, we're just trying to inspire the youth about and teach them about STEM and robotics and everything that's good about it. Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, like I would say, just not just being able to enhance that team sustainability, but the first sustainability within your community to not just like grow your team, but to just grow the concept of first and the principles that are associated with it is really important to have. So, have there been any notable outreach events that you guys have done that exemplify this?
We have a few examples actually. I believe it was yesterday, we had people from our middle schools that all came over to our school. Nearly 100 kids came over to our school, and we were able to teach them just about, as they're in middle school, we were teaching them about FLL and also a JavaScript library called P5JS, where we were just teaching graphics and a little bit of user interface with all the people that came over. And we were able to document all their work, and we'll be displaying that soon.
We also have some marginally less robotics related things, but they're also pretty notable. And I think we posted most of this onto our YouTube channel, just Devolotics as well. We had a hot sauce fundraiser, which is pretty funny, where we just bought the hottest hot sauce you can find on the internet, and then we set up a stand in our school and just had people try it out. And we also had a video game tournament fundraiser as well that we put on our channel. These have been really great for spreading word of our team throughout the community. And then I guess our strategy is we do things that aren't that robotics related to hook them in, and then once they're in, we can feed them all the robotics content we want.
All right, I gotta ask, how did the hot sauce? Who thought of that, and how did that go?
I've never heard of hot sauce fundraiser.
That's so smart.
So we have this mastermind member, Dan. One day he was browsing the internet and he just came across a bottle of hot sauce and he was like, "Okay, we have to try this." And we have a video of all of us trying the hot sauce for the first time. It was not fun, but it was a good, I guess, a team bonding experience. And then after that, we were like, okay, we can turn this into kind of a community thing as well. So we shared some hot sauce with our friends. We also did some like wasabi chugging, probably not very healthy, but it was fun regardless. And yeah, we turned pain into something positive, which is, maybe it's a bad thing, but we did have fun.
No, that sounds like a lot of fun. And like I feel like at least in my school, people would definitely like stand in line to be like, okay, I can do it. No, I can do it.
Yeah.
Oh, it was not fun. 357,000 Scoville units. Not fun. I threw up many times.
Yeah, Ninja threw up.
You guys had like a waiver? Did you make?
Yes, we had a
Yeah.
consent form.
Yeah.
It was
We
actually
had
very, very
we
sketchy.
scrawled like Sharpie onto a piece of cardboard, and we have it like in a display case inside of our school hallways.
Are you guys gonna bring it to Worlds?
We
Oh
probably
wait, that's
should.
actually a great idea. Yeah,
We
we're
probably
gonna do
should.
that. Okay, now that you mention it, yes.
Yes.
I think if you guys do the same thing at Worlds, I think majority of our team will be lined up ready to try it.
Oh, no.
Oh yeah. If
We
you
should
guys
bring
bring that
it.
to Worlds, I'm trying it. I'm telling you right now.
If
Alright.
we're allowed to bring it on the
Yeah.
airport, we're gonna bring it.
Oh yeah. I don't know if it'll be allowed to bring on the air. If it's checked in, like. In
I
the
think if
bag.
it's enclosed, then
Yeah,
I
if
think
it's like
okay.
inside a bag that you check in, I think it'll be good.
Yeah, like, I mean, like, just I've honestly never heard of a hot sauce fundraiser before. I've heard of like just like food related stuff, like selling food, but a hot sauce fundraiser is something that's like, I'd say, out of the box. Like, it's one of a kind, and I think that's something that first tries to teach you, or something that you learn along the way, is that you can find solutions, or you can solve problems by using creative out of the box solutions. And it's just really important to have that skill, even like later on in life, when I don't know, you're applying it, like you're engineering a rocket, starting your own hot sauce business. It just have there been any, like, not just like in your outreach, but also anywhere else, that you guys have had creative out of the box solutions before?
Well, I guess we can dive into a little bit of our robot. So, from the start of this year, we went through a very, very deep designing process where we brainstormed the best way that we could get our cones to be placed onto the junctions. And what we ended up going for was a design with an extension, and it would transfer onto a vertical arm. And due to us being a second-year team, we didn't have that much funding to obviously go out and buy these expensive parts, especially if you guys, not sure if you guys heard of Masumi slides, but Masumi slides definitely very, very expensive. So
They're not that bad compared to some other things. All things considered, they're not that bad.
So we had to look for a little bit of a interesting way to get this vertical lift all the way onto the high junctions, medium, and low junctions, right? And eventually we came up with a virtual 4-bar that was able to be lifted up, and it could reach every junction very, very fast and consistently. We ended up finding out that using our virtual 4-bar, which was actually powered with 60-to-1 motors, 2 of them, it was actually pretty much faster or on par with most slides that would reach the high junction. So we were able to get around this problem of using what a lot of teams nowadays use, which is slides to reach all the high junction. We were able to use this virtual 4-bar and get all the lift that we needed with just that. And with our extension, we were able to buy a few Masumi slides for an extension that would go. It actually extends, I believe. Actually, I think Evan would know this.
120 centimeters.
120 centimeters.
Yeah.
So using this, we were able to get from. I'm not sure how to visualize this.
I'll take it on from this part. We have our vertical extension with our virtual 4-bar that we mentioned earlier, and we also have a horizontal extension that can reach all the way from the high junction in the middle of the field to the cone stack without moving at all. At this point, I think a few teams can do this, but we came up with this plan quite early in the season, which I guess we thought was pretty unique at the time. But now, since so many teams are doing it, it's a little bit less cool. But we do have a virtual 4-bar as our main vertical lift, which I haven't seen that yet on any other team. So what started out as a design limitation turned out to benefit us.
Yeah, like I'd say, I know for us at least, we have the vertical and horizontal set of slides, but at the beginning of the season, I think we started off with one jointed arm that would just move on a pivot for for horizontal arm. And this is really ineffective, especially when you're cycling from the substation. And over time we were able to I think extend our slides even more and more. And we've been able to improve our autonomous, our tele-up with this. And I think we're hoping at least at Worlds that it's going to be a lot easier to use, especially against a lot of new teams that we've never been exposed to. But yeah, I'd say using a virtual 4-bar is definitely innovative. I don't know if or if any team uses that in Florida at least, but that's definitely one of a kind. Are there talking about your mechanical, the mechanical side of your robot? How have you guys been able to optimize sort of your software and your hardware to sort of help you guys in tie-up and autonomous?
Okay, he's pointing at me, so I guess I should talk about the robot a little bit. In terms of the program, we kind of have a different strategy for the tele-up and the autonomous. For the autonomous, actually, I'll talk about the tele-up first. Because a robot has so many moving parts, it would be annoying for the driver to manually control everything. So I guess many other teams do this as well. We have buttons on the controller that correspond to an entire sequence of actions that it's kind of like having an autonomous, sub-autonomous programs built into our tele-up, where, for example, we'd press one button and it would extend and intake a cone and then transfer it to our second claw, and then we'd press another button and it would score on the high junction. And how normally our first tele-up mode, and the one that we actually use for most of our competitions, we needed both controllers and we needed two drivers. Where we had some manual control and we had some of that autonomous automated control. And then now we've actually compacted it together so that we can actually have all of the important controls on one controller, which is really nice because now we only need one driver, so the communication loss between the two drivers during the competition is completely eliminated. So right now, we have 3 buttons to score the junctions, we have 2 buttons to do intaking, and then we have some other slight manual adjustment control as well. As for autonomous, there have been a lot of issues, like a bumpy road that we've been on programming autonomous, but the main idea is that we have, in the beginning, we store our entire program essentially into a big array. And then later on, we have the program running on a continuous loop, and then it would run through each line that we put into that array at the beginning of the program. It sounds kind of unnecessary, but what this allows us to do is that it lets us put all of the important parts of a code in one section. So it's really easy to edit. If we want to move the arm up, we can just say vertical arm up instead of saying set the motor to a certain power and then wait until the encoder ticks get to a certain position. We can literally just say motor go here, and that's it. And that's made our autonomous tuning a lot more simple and straightforward, and it's allowed us to spend more time on optimization rather than scratching our heads.
Yeah, I'd say just having those automated parts in your tele-op make a lot of your cycles a lot faster, which is going to be really important. During your qualification matches and during your division elimination matches. Hopefully, if you guys get in, that's just another thing that adds on to your experience at Worlds. So yeah, I'd say just having any optimization over time, from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, where you guys have seen gradual or a very big improvement, has shown I'd say not just the judges but other teams, what you guys have been able to accomplish this season, which is really important. Have there been any besides obviously winning the Inspire Award in Ontario, have you guys had any other notable accomplishments that you guys would like to share with us?
Yeah, sure. One thing that comes to mind first, during our, I think, second qualifying tournament, we actually managed to score, it was the previous tie score in Canada, I believe. It was being like 2 hours later, but we still were pretty proud that we managed to top the charts for at least around 2 hours. And it was pretty funny because our robot actually didn't perform that well at all during the competition. It was kind of lucky. Our autonomous managed to work for like the first time ever, and it happened to be that match. But regardless, we were pretty proud of that moment because it showed that we had pretty solid outreach, but we also did have a good robot, and it encouraged us to keep working on the robot more.
Yeah, the exact same thing happened to us. We had like a world record for like 5 minutes, and so we were like, "Oh my god, we got a world record!" And then someone refreshed it, and they're like, "Yeah, no."
Hey, I mean, like you can put it on your resume, right? Like former world record robotics team
5-minute world record holder.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to mention that. They can assume.
No, you don't have to know. No, in the beginning of the season, I just remember like every couple minutes it was like something new, like always popped up. So it's cool. It'd be cool to see at Worlds like just how competitive it is.
Yeah.
Like what designs people have, because like at least at States, I was kind of surprised at a lot of designs I didn't see in my league, through my league meets. And then when I went to States, I'm like, oh my, we could have done this, we could have done that. So like I'm like curious to see like at Worlds like what's going to be the best design there.
Yeah, honestly, like I guess a big like upside of going to Worlds is that you get to compete with these other teams. But another thing is just being able to walk in the pits and just being able to see what these other like geniuses around the world have come up with. It'll be so nice just to walk around the pits, maybe like even just touching the robots might even feel so good, because like you get to experience the brilliant ideas that other people have put into the robots. And like even if we don't do that well, even if we don't win any awards or anything, I'm sure it'll be a great experience just because of how much we can see.
Oh, definitely! It definitely will be a great experience. I hope so, but I've heard a lot of great things from people, at least people that I know from last year in our region that went.
Yeah, like I'd say I've also had the experience of being a spectator, and just being able to go with my team there and just being able to go to those robot matches, knowing that you're competing in the world championship and versus spectating are just two different things, It's not just the fact that you get to see these robots in action. It's also that you have the chance of, you could be in alliance with them and hopefully set a new world record, I don't know, we could be in an alliance and set a new world record, right?
Yeah. Z.I.P ties Devolotics new world record 305. It's happening.
314, trust.
Of course.
Yeah, so, speaking about Worlds, what has your team the most excited about it?
Oh, well, just starting from that day that we won Inspire. When we were there, we were all holding each other's hands, giddy, waiting for the announcement. As soon as he said our name, we all jumped. We sprinted to get our award. And from that moment, we were just so happy. We're so relieved. All the work that we had put in, all the hours, the days, the weeks, the amount of time we put into it, and everything just paying off. And we're able to get to Worlds, and we get to meet all these amazing teams like you guys have already mentioned. It's just been, it's been like not even at Worlds yet. And we're so excited to what we're going to be able to.
Yeah, honestly, I guess like ranking the things that we're most excited about, number one is definitely just seeing the other teams and other robots in action. Second thing is just like the feeling of going to a world championship is already really nice. And third, maybe it's just me, but I'm really looking forward to the food in Houston. Like I can't even lie. I'm really looking forward.
No, what's different about the food in Houston?
I don't know. They say it's
They're
good.
really known for their barbecue.
I guess we'll never know until we try.
Yeah.
All right, we might have to stop by. If you find something good, you gotta let us know.
Yeah,
of course.
All right.
No, I think it's pretty much the same for me. I think I'm really excited to see like how many people are there, because obviously like I've seen pictures, I've googled pictures, but I think like when you're in that stadium, it's like I feel like it would be a completely different feeling. And at the same time, I've gotten so close to everybody on the team, so the experience of like flying out to like a different state, for you guys a different country, and like and going to like somewhere that you've worked so hard for. I think nothing beats that feeling, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I would definitely agree with Rishabh. Like just the fact that, as you guys were saying, all your hard work has paid off, and you've gone to this moment. You know, you're at the world championship. You're at the highest level, and you know it's now time to go out there and just have fun. And like another thing that I'm really excited about is like the fair that they normally have with all the big companies that sponsor first events. Like I remember last time that event, they actually had like a working Tron bike that you could ride like in VR, which is really cool. They also had like MIT professors there just talking to you about like I was a 7-year-old and I didn't understand it, but like I could just see my brother just like, wow, like you know just the real world application that what you're learning in first is setting you up, right? It's building this foundation to continue like so you can continue on and almost have like a jump start on everyone else around you, right? So have you guys, or sort of speaking about like the applications of first principles, have you guys been able to use that in any of your outreach events or anything that you guys have done so far this season?
Most of our outreach events have been related to teaching younger students about STEM and about robotics. So it's kind of like we're trying to have them experience the same, like the moments that we've experienced when they come into our spot. Because some of our team members, we pushed to start our team at our school because we saw that we were in our first LEGO League teams in middle school, and that's what kind of inspired us to do FTC. So we kind of want to bring that enthusiasm to the younger generation as well. And even if we don't apply that many of these skills, which I'm sure we will in the future, but even if we don't, just the feeling of fun and the feeling that we've spread it to so many other people has been really satisfying with regards to our outreach.
Yeah, like I would definitely say just being able to like one of the outreach events that we normally do is at our local science center, Orlando Science Center, and you know over there we present our robot and we actually set up like a little Lego stand for kids to play with, in which they can also like parents can sign them up for our free virtual summer camp, and we've had so much positive feedback from parents like, thank you so much for doing this. You know, you've sparked my child's interest in Legos. You know made them feel like you know they're a part of something, and it's just the fact that you're able to create this very fostering community through FIRST is just one of the hidden gems about this program. So I'd say you know it's important to sort of discover what's out there with FIRST and what you can do with it.
Definitely. Adding on to that, like for us, we've had a very similar experience. We were able to do many workshops just within our community at libraries as well, where we were able to just get a private section to ourselves, and a bunch of younger people, along with their parents, would come along, and we can just tell them all about FIRST and everything that it teaches us. And a bunch of them have given a positive feedback towards us, and even emails in person, everything like that. And it's just been great to see that we're actually making an impact in our community.
Yeah, and even with something like what you guys are doing with interviewing other teams, FPCU teams around the world, just sharing ideas, talking, having a good time. It really emphasizes that, right? Like robotics isn't all about the robots. We literally had that line inside of our presentation script. There's so much more that outreach can bring to like an event like FTC, where just like people having a good time. It's there's like the robots are pretty cool, but it's also just people, a very wholesome environment.
Yeah, we actually did a Z.I.P Talks at States itself. Like we set up we set up chairs, like a camera, and we did it there. And just during the recording, you could just see how much was going on. Like it was so chaotic. People were walking up to us, giving us goodie bags, talking to us, asking questions. So there was so much going on. So like while it was chaotic, it kind of showed like what is going on in states. So just thinking in my head, I'm like, okay, if states was this chaotic, this much is going on. Like imagine the world competition. So it's like, yeah, I agree. There's so much that goes on outside of just the robots. Because we were in the pit, the robots. Everybody was testing the robots in the practice fields, but still, there were so many people talking, so many people interacting, and that was just the coolest part.
Yeah, definitely. Just attending first events in general, being part of a team, and being able to talk to everybody there, everyone that's been in a similar situation, and we had to come with a creative idea and we're just solve the game that was given this year. It's definitely been amazing just to speak with those teams, talk about their challenges, talk about their successes, talk about what they were doing that year. It's just been amazing. That's one of the most amazing things that I think that First has been able to bring to just me and also I'm sure the rest of my team.
Yeah, like I'd say not just like about the robot or the community that it's creating. It's also like the cultures that are colliding. Like, we were talking with the team like almost last week that went to India to compete, and they were telling us about the different culture that they had there. Not just in first, because in first, they actually sang the national anthem of India and then their own country, and then they sort of had like a parade there, which is like I know at our state competition they just sing the American anthem and then we start matches. But just like I've never heard of having like sort of like a parade, which is like brand new. So it's really exciting to see how first brings people together and causes like a cultural diffusion if you like almost and this
Right?
sort of allows for new thoughts and ideas to like be made, and it's just another cool thing about the first program.
And the only time I've seen a parade is like that sounds like the Olympics, where they have all the countries go by. So I think it'd be pretty cool to see.
Definitely.
Yeah, like or like another thing that I wanted to ask is um so like I was telling you a little bit about Florida, but in Canada, are there any unique things that you guys would say is different from other places that you guys have seen, or is it more or less the same thing?
Um, we're kind of the. I guess our team is like way too like sweaty robotics nerd energy, so we haven't really traveled too much. Um, yeah, I'm not exactly sure because I haven't been to the States like at all ever. Um, so I'm
You
excited to
didn't
see
go?
what
You said you haven't been to States?
yeah, I haven't been in the States. I think I've been there for like a intermediate flight to somewhere else before, but I don't think I've like stayed there
Oh
and
wow.
explored around. So this will be the first time, yeah. And I guess it'll definitely leave a good impression. But anyhow, yeah, I'm really excited to like see what other places around the world are like because I guess we stayed in this bubble for pretty long. Um, it's time to see what the world out there is like.
No, that sounds really cool.
Yeah, like I'd say just as you're saying, you're going out of your bubble. I'd say you're sort of like expanding it or just popping, the 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 bubble that you've had for the past few years. You've been able to expand that, and that's just that's just been able to not grow you as a team. I'd say because of all the new experiences, the new adventures that you guys are gonna have, but also what else lies out there. Like I think a thing about first and or like going to the world championship is that you're gonna meet a lot of people that for the next season you can start talking with them about convert or continuing that relationship into the next season and trying to build something up together that can help the first community or just help a local community around both of your teams. And it's just going to be really exciting to see what else happens, not just with how teams interact in the robot, but also just outside in the pits.
Yeah. One thing that our team has kind of tried doing, in terms of outreach and everything, is that we wanted to add a bit more like humorous stuff into the community. So one thing that we've actually focused our outreach on, and especially our YouTube channel, is making like comedic uh, videos about like they're essentially like
Like
tutorial
YouTube
videos.
shorts or something?
Yeah, the YouTube Shorts is a completely different thing. Those are like just completely just us goofing around. But we also have like a running series called How to Robot, where we make really we try to make them like as high quality as possible, but also as bad as possible. So they're like satirical tutorial videos. For example, we have how to build, how to get sponsors. And the point is obviously not to give other people knowledge, but the point is to make them feel like robotics is like a warm environment where people are willing to have fun. And yeah, because one of the things we identified early on in the season is that the online FTC community sometimes is a little bit stale, right? It's a little bit overly competitive, and it's very technical, and we wanted to like inject some like good humor into all of that.
That's really cool. Yeah, because I agree. I think that sometimes it can get too competitive, too technical. So I think that's a really cool thing that your team has done. How did you guys like think of that and develop that?
Well, we have this team that, remember, his name is Bay, and essentially this guy is a mastermind at producing comedic skits. I think this guy's gonna become like a director when he grows up. This guy, he creates these amazing skits and just bursts of comedy coming here and there. In one of our videos, how to build specifically, our team member here, Evan, he takes a flat bracket, bends it into an L and calls it an L bracket, and then uses it on the robot. And this just brings a sense of like humor into like this normal thing, which you would never do. Bending this piece of metal never would happen. And we bring this into our YouTube and create these just skits of just these elements of a comedy that are just stitched together in a fun manner.
That's hilarious. I need to like go through all you guys' videos now.
I think we might need to start doing that, Rishabh. Like, I think for next season, I think we can do some partnership with you guys and start making comedic skits together.
Like,
definitely.
Right, like on Google Meets.
How to reach out to teams, and then we'll do something.
Like, we'll be calling you, and you guys are going to be, like, in the middle of a match or something.
Yeah.
Right?
That would be great. That would be really funny. And then we post it on the YouTube. That would be so good.
That would be really cool. No, I definitely, at least since I'm a senior, I really want to still be involved within First. What about you, Evan?
I'm trying to make sure that I don't like get like completely knocked out in university, so I can come back occasionally to help out with the team. And I'm also thinking about volunteering for First in our community as well. And carrying you, Ninja. I'm kidding.
Where do you plan on going?
Right now, the offers are still coming in from the universities. University of Toronto seems really nice. So it has kind of a bad reputation of being really tough, though. So I'm a little bit scared. But I think it'll be fine.
You'll be fine. No, that's cool. It seems like he really wants your help next year.
I need it. I only have 2 members.
You guys are famous though. You guys are like famous in your school, so you guys will have like a line when you come back from Houston.
Yeah.
Just knocking on your door. Hey, we're ready to join the team.
Please let us in. Please let us in.
Yeah. Sorry, Rishabh.
I know.
But just a quick thing is, like, I know at least in the States, like a lot of colleges do have like First programs where college teams can actually compete. How does that work in like Canada? Do you guys have that, or like have First alumni programs?
I actually haven't done that much research into it, but I think there are. I'm not completely sure. I guess I'm still coping with the fact that I'm not going to be in a team next year, so I haven't really started looking. But I'm pretty sure I have heard of some like networks and stuff that I'll probably be part of.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's really cool. Other than that, like, I really thank you guys so much for coming out. I think we had like a really good episode. It was really fun talking to you guys, and we definitely have to see each other at Worlds. 100%.
Yes.
We have to see. And you know what? Let's make a video at Worlds. Let's make a how-to some
We do
some
it,
one
we
of
do
those.
it.
We'll make those at Worlds.
We can do a how to set up your pit or something, or
Oh, yeah,
how
we'll
to
do
contact other
something.
teams.
How to
Get
winning
your
alliance
friend to think
captain
of
at
an
Worlds.
idea. I know your friend's like a mastermind. We gotta think of something.
Yeah, we need Bay to create a quick
Yeah.
script.
Maybe like a Bay X Zip ties, like a
Yeah.
little
Of course.
collaboration.
Also, just before we end off, something that we ask all the teams that does zip ties with us is, of course, you guys won the Ontario Inspire Award and have been very knowledgeable in your first 2 years. So, is there any piece? If there's a piece of advice you'd give to any FTC team, what would it be and why?
I guess number one thing, just have fun. Like a lot of people put so much pressure on themselves to perform well. When you look at it, even if you don't win awards or you don't do well, just looking back at the years and the hours of effort that you put with your team, it really feels nice. And when you make sure that you have fun, you'll know that in the future when you look back, it'll always be a good experience, no matter how far you get or not.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say just enjoying those fun moments with your team or at those outreach events really makes up for what the first program is, and it just adds a bit more to all the things that you are learning. I'd say as you go on, you're gonna have those moments again, but just having it with your team now is just developing it already. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today and on such a short notice. And hopefully we're in the same division and we can talk again at Worlds.
I guess we'll see today. They say that divisions might be coming out today after the drivers' meeting, but maybe. They're just rumors, though. I don't know. But yeah, hopefully we are in the same division. Yeah. But thanks for having us. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
All right.